Hello everyone, this is part 6 of What If Naruto was in Sword Art Online, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Alfheim. Neutral territory. Central capital, Aran. Kirito, Leafa and Asuna have just arrived at Aran. They looked up at all light that came from all the buildings in the middle of the night at awe. It's like the whole city was lit up like a Christmas tree. I've never been in such a place like this before, said Kirito looking around in awe. Me neither. It's such an amazing sight even looking from here, said Leafa looking at the sight amazed. Yeah, Aran definitely the most beautiful and largest city in this world. No matter how many times I came here at night, the sight still managed to impress me, said Menma and smiling softly looking at the sight before him. Suddenly, they heard the announcement on the speaker that was located on the tallest buildings. The server will be down today, 22nd of January, from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. for scheduled maintenance. Then the announcement was repeat again. Kirito and Leafa hearing the announcement and sigh. So, that's all for today, huh? From 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., said Leafa looking at the other two. Kirito looked at the world tree intently and said, yeah, well, let's find an inn to rest, proposed Kirito and stretched his body. Then he turned to Menma who had been deep in thought since the announcement was announced. Oi, Menma, are you with us? Asked Kirito snapped him out from his thought. I remembered that I have some business to take care. You two just go to the inn and logged out. Don't worry, when you two log in I will be there. As I can't logged out, I will finish my business using this chance, said Menma scratching his neck. Kirito looked at him suspiciously with critical eyes. You don't plan to do something stupid, right? Asked Kirito narrowing his eyes. No, nothing like that. Just I forgot I had some unfinished business before decide to help you out, said Menma and waving his head in denial. Okay then, Yui can found the cheapest inn here. Asked Kirito looking at Yui that is sitting on his shoulder. Yui looked around for a while and pointed one in. There, that inn is super cheap. Super cheap, huh? Asked Leafa sweet dropping. Then she turned to Menma and said. Take care Menma-kun. I want you to be here when I log in, okay? Don't worry Leafa. I promised, said Menma and raised his thumb and grinned foxily. Leafa looked at Menma's grinning face and blushed a little. Then she recalled that she will be log out for a while, so she decided to do something bold. Menma-kun. See, could you please close your eyes for a minute, stuttered Leafa fidgeting. Huh? For what? Asked Menma surprised. Just do as I said, I don't have much time left. Snapped Leafa at Menma. Oh okay, muttered Menma fearfully. He closed his eyes and stood there. Leafa approached him and leaned in to kiss his cheek. Then ran away to the direction of the inn with red face. Menma opened his eyes and touched where she kissed. That was unexpected, but not unpleasant, muttered Menma. Well, I am going there too. Take care, said Kirito and began to leave. Before he went too far, Menma said. When you logged out there will be a surprise for you. Kirito looked at Menma strangely, then shrugged his head and go the inn. Menma opened his friend list waiting for them to log out and decide to act. He began to run to the direction of the world tree. This is my chance to find out what that fake king has hide. As the server is in maintenance soon, all the monsters and guards will be deactivated, which means I can reach the top without any problems on my way. On top of world tree, Asuna has managed to escape the birdcage by entering the password that she has remembered. Right now she is running down from the birdcage. She saw an entrance before her when she ran down. She looked at the entrance suspiciously and decided to go in. When she opened she saw a long tunnel there. So she decided to go even further. She didn't know that there was a shadow far behind her that also observing and following her. Real world. Kirito is washing his face with cold water to refresh himself. When he finished, he closed the sink and turned to his right. Morning Shugu. Morning Oni-chan, said Shugu her tiredly still rubbing her eyes. Then she yawned loudly. Kazuto seeing that decided to ask. What are you doing so late at night? I was in internet, said Shugu her feeling more refreshed. Don't spend too much time on it, advised Kazuto and then thought to himself. Not that I should talk. I am such a hypocrite. Then he have an idea how to prank his sister. Shugu, turn back please. Huh? For what? Asked Shuguha surprised. Just do it, said Kazuto. His hair covered his eyes and he smirks deviously. Shuguha just shrugged and turned back. Kazuto immediately take the cold water and pour at Shuguha's back. Cause her to scream loudly so that everybody around them could hear. Alfheim. World Tree. Control Room. Asuna is moving silently through the long tunnel. As she walks, she begins to think how long this corridor is. After walking for some distance, she noticed there is what looked like a map in front of her. She looked at the map and searching the console, where you could log out, intently. She never noticed a shadow that was far behind her observing her actions. Asuna's eyes suddenly fall on the room by the name of Experiments. With that she began to move to the direction of the room, not knowing the shadow was following her as well. Real world. Kiragaya's household. Kitchen. Shuguha and Kazuto were cooking. Shuguha was mad for her brother's stunt. She closed her eyes cutting vegetables. Oni-chan, you should buy me a green tea shaved ice with raspberry parfait to apologize. Okay. Then can we go in the afternoon? Asked Shuguha hopefully. I am sorry, but I have something to do in the afternoon. And I plan to go to the hospital this morning, said Kazuto. So, hey, Oni-chan, can I come with you to the hospital? I want to see Asuna-san's and your friend's face, asked Shuguha with a little sad voice and leaves the kitchen. Sure, I think they will be glad about that, said Kazuto. Turns to the leaving figure of Shuguha. Alfheim. Experiments Room. Asuna has arrived at the room. She looked around and saw multiple test tubes with the hologram of brain above each. Asuna walked in further and went closer to one of the tubes to look at the hologram of the brain. There she saw that the tubes control all emotions of players. Then she recalled what Shugu said about the expansion of brain control regions, that could possible to control thought, emotion and even memory. Then she realized that all the players of Allo right now being manipulated by these tubes. She covers her mouth in horror. They are all suffering. How horrible, said Asuna, her eyes widen in horror at what she find out. He won't get away with this. No, I won't let him, said Asuna and looked up determinedly. Just wait a minute. I will save you all, muttered Asuna. Suddenly, she heard a sound of someone opening the door and immediately hid behind one of the tubes. The pink tentacle creature has come in the room and looked around. Now how is it going? He is having another dream of Spiker-chan, said the creature. B13 and B14 fields are off the scale. Same as 16. High excitement. Sure it isn't the coincidence. It's only happened 3 times. No, it due to emotional inducement circuits. If it happened at this rate, he is over the threshold. So for now we put him in the list for continuous monitoring. Asuna seeing they didn't notice her decide to move away. Time skip. Asuna is sneaking away from the 2 tentacle creatures. When she looked back, she saw a floating black box in midair. That's a system console. Then she looked back to see if the 2 creatures has noticed her yet. Seeing they didn't, she decided to approach the system console to log out. She began to run faster but silently to reach the card and pulled it down. Then she searched for a logout menu and finally found it. She was about to press a logout button. But behind her there was a shadow of a tentacle monster behind, though she didn't know that yet. On her right, not far from the console system, the shadow was unsheathing his sword prepared to act. Hospital. Asuna's room. Shuguha and Kazuto were standing in front of Asuna's room. Shuguha read her name on the tablet. Yuki Asuna-san. Her character shared her real name. Not many people do it. Oh, you know that as well. Naruto and Asuna are the only people I know that used real name in the game, said Kazuto. Then they proceed to go in the room. When they entered the room, Kazuto turned to Asuna and said, I'll introduce you. This is Asuna, Vice Commander of Knights of Blood Oath, Senku no Asuna. One of the 2 person that I couldn't match in speed and accuracy, said Kazuto then continued. Asuna, this is my sister Shuguha. And nice to meet you, Asuna-san, said Shuguha smiling a little. Alfheim. Control room. Asuna was captured by the tentacle creature and it was restricting her right now. She tried to press the logout button, but couldn't as the tentacles restrict her movements. Suddenly, the creature screamed out in pain. Asuna looked behind it and noticed Menma with Kusanagi in his hand. Her eyes began to tear up and she screamed. Naruto. Asuna screamed surprised at his presence. Menma charges forward forcing the monster to back away from Asuna. You are Asuna-san, right? Quick, using this chance to log out. Kirito-san is waiting for you. I will take care of this, guys, said Menma in hurry. But I couldn't leave you here, said Asuna, looking hesitantly at him. Don't worry about me. Hurry, log out. I believed that you will come back to save, right? Shouted Menma and turned to smile at her. You. How the heck can you even be here? The server is in maintenance now. That should be impossible, shouted one of the creature. This maintenance is the only chance for me to find out the truth about this world. I was trapped here from the very beginning. Means even if the server is in maintenance, me and Asuna-san are the only players here, answered Menma. Well, that just won't do. I'll need to capture you now that you discovered this room, also erasing your memories. Test subject K99, said the tentacle monster and went to one of the tube. Hurry and logged out, Asuna-san. Also, give this to Kirito-san, said Menma, and transfer the seed from his inventory to her. You think I will let you out of here? Shout the other monster and charges at Asuna. But Menma had intercepted and won't allow it to come near Asuna. Asuna run to the console system and looked back at Menma one last time. The tears run down her eyes one last time before she pressed the logout button and muttered. Arigato, Naruto. I will come back for you. I promised. With that she logged out. The monsters scream in frustration and begin send electroshock to Menma's brain through a system. Menma was fighting the other monster, suddenly felt a horrible pain in his head. The monster begin to came near him to restrict him. You've made a huge mistake. Now Shugu will know about it and you won't even imagine how horrible that is to you. He will torture you day and night, said the monster. Menma was on the ground panting heavily. As he was tried to stand up, the other shock has came to his brain, force him to fall to the ground blackout. That girl has escaped. Shugu-san will be furious. But first let's put this intruder to a proper place first. You waited here for a little, I will log out to contact the boss, said one of the creature. Yeah. To think this brat will spoil boss's plans. After a minute the other returned. So what did he said? He was so pissed that he said torture this kid as much as we want. Also put him in the darkest prison in the castle. He looked at the unconscious form of Menma and said. Looks like your life is over, brat. You shouldn't have come here. Asuna's room. Shuguha looked at Asuna's unconscious figure and muttered. She's so pretty. It's a shame that she is still asleep. Kazuto also looked at Asuna silently. Shuguha decided to go out to change the water. Suddenly, Asuna's finger moved slightly. Kirito looked in shocked. Then she groggily opened her eyes. Asuna, you are finally awake. I missed you so much, yelled Kazuto with tears of joy and embraced her tightly. I am back, Kirito-kun, said Asuna and smiled tiredly. But how did you wake up? I thought that Shugu trapped you in aloe. Asked Kazuto, surprised, caressing her hand gently. Asuna heard that, widen her eyes, then her eyes began tear up. It's Naruto. He used the chance that the server is in maintenance to save me. We have to save him, Kirito-kun. Shugu won't forgive something like this. Naruto pretty much spoiled all his plans. He will kill him, Kirito-kun. This time Naruto may die for real. We need to save him. Shouted Asuna, sobbing heavily. Kazuto's eyes widen in realization the last words Naruto said to him. His hands began to tremble and his eyes also begin to tear up. Again. He did things alone again. I should have realized sooner. He was waiting for the maintenance to happen from the beginning, said Kazuto, looked down in shame. Behind the curtain, Shuguha heard the name Naruto, then she thought, could it be the Naruto that Kirito has called on their first meeting? If so, then that means her brother was Kirito. Asuna looked at Kazuto and said, please save Naruto. I can't log in, as I have to report to my father the truth. Also I will transfer one thing that Naruto has entrusted to me for you. Kazuto looked up determined and said, I promise that I will save him no matter what. You should go visit him now. I am fine already, said Asuna and smiled softly at Kazuto. Okay. Take care, Asuna, said Kazuto, leaned in and kissed her. Shuguha looked from behind the curtain and saw they kissed. Feeling embarrassed, she immediately looked away. The realization came to her. When she looked at her brother and Asuna kissed, she didn't felt a jolt of pain in her heart. Just the embarrassing sensation. Which means her feelings has shifted to Menma-kun, during the time they spent together. Shugu, I am visiting Naruto now. Are you with me? Asked Kazuto. Hi, Oni-chan, said Shuguha. Then she walked to the bed where Asuna sat up and said, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Asuna-san. I hope we can be friends." "Oh, so you are Shuguha, huh? Nice to meet you. I also want that," said Asuna and smiled at Shuguha. With that they walked out of Asuna's room and head to Naruto's room. Naruto's room. Kazuto knocked the door, then heard the "come in" from someone inside and walked in. Shuguha was behind him. They walked in and saw Rika was sat on Naruto's bed as usual. "Long time no see, Rika." "Oh, Kazuto. Yeah, it's been a while. How are you doing?" "I am fine. This is my sister Shuguha. And this is Rika, my friend." Kazuto introduced Shuguha to Rika. "Nice to meet you, Shuguha." "Nice to meet you too, Rika-san. So this is Naruto-san. The hero of Sao," said Shuguha and looked at Naruto's unconscious form. "Yeah, the hero that had saved us all from the death game, though he personally didn't think of himself as such," said Kazuto and looked at his friend sadly. That fact indeed confirmed that Menma is Naruto to Shuguha. "Rika, I wanted to talk you in private. Can we go outside?" asked Kazuto looking at Rika seriously. Rika nodded her head in surprise. And with that they walked out of the room to talk. Shuguha came closer and caressed Naruto's cheek and muttered, "So this is how you look IRL, Menma-kun. Still as handsome as your avatar." Then she blushed at that thought. She touched her heart and felt how it began to beat faster than usual as she sat near Naruto. Her face heat up and she recalled each praise he gave her and felt butterfly in her stomach. "Is this love?" Outside, Rika stood in front of Kazuto and asked, "So, what did you wanted to talk about?" "I have 3 news. 2 good and 1 very bad. Which do you want to hear first?" asked Kazuto crossing his arms. "Good first. Okay then. First is that I have found Naruto. He was trapped in Aloe. Second, Asuna is awake now," said Kazuto. "What? Why did he was trapped in there?" "Asuna is awake. When did that happen?" asked Rika, widen her eyes at each news. "Just recently, and because she was saved by Naruto." "Here come the bad news. Naruto was still trapped in Aloe. And because he released Asuna, he may die in Aloe," said Kazuto and looked down to clutch his knuckle. "Why?" asked Rika fearfully trembling. "Nobuyuki Shugu trapped Asuna in game to take advantage of him in marrying him. But Naruto has spoiled all his plans by releasing Asuna from the game. He won't forgive that. He will torture Naruto, till his mind shut out or even transform him to a mindless drone," said Kazuto punching the wall in frustration. Rika hearing that covers her mouth and begin to cry. I will log in Aloe to save him," shouted Rika tearfully. "Don't. I know you care for Naruto the most, but Shugu may send the men to end Naruto's life IRL. I need you to watch Naruto 24/7. Don't worry, I promised I will save him no matter what," said Kazuto and looked at her pleadingly. Rika looked at Kazuto's face and nodded hesitantly. "Oh okay, just promise me return him safely." Kazuto nodded his head, then he and Rika returned back to Naruto's room. Naruto's room. Shuguha can't take her eyes from Naruto and caressing his cheek lovingly. Then she heard a sound behind and quickly retreat her hand. Shuguha turned back and saw Kazuto and Rika walked in. "Well, I'll be going now. Shugu, let's go," said Kazuto, then turned to Shuguha. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Rika-san," said Shuguha and bowed her head. "The pleasure is all mine. Take care you too," said Rika. With that they both walked out. Alfheim. King Oberon's castle. Prison. Menma was strapped to both legs and hands in shackles. His eyes was half lit from so many tortures. "You should have done that, brat. Now you will remain here forever. When the boss log in, he will decide what to do with you next," said the pink monster and crawl away. Time skip. Aaron. Some in. Kirito logged in and saw Leafa was sat on the bed with her back to her. "Can I ask you a question?" asked Leafa. "Yeah," answered Kirito blinking in surprise. "You are Oni-chan, right?" asked Leader turning to Kirito. Kirito was surprised a little but still answered with a sigh. "So you've figured out?" "Yes, which means you are Shugu, right?" "Yeah. Then that means the Naruto you talked about yesterday?" asked Leafa. "That's right. He is Menma. Though for some reason he lost his memories," said Kirito. "So now you are going to rescue him by going to the top of World Tree?" "Yes. I must save him no matter the cost," said Kirito determined. "I will go with you. I want to say something to him when I meet him again," said Leafa also looking determined. "Well, Then let's go, said Kirito and walked out of the inn. Just you wait, Naruto-kun. We will definitely save you, said leader and followed Kirito. Alfheim. Aaron. Kirito and Leafa were heading to the direction of the World Tree. Suddenly, Yui stuck her head out from Kirito's pocket and asked. This ID. Why is Uncle ID there, Papa? Kirito looked at Yui for a while and sighed. I forget that you didn't know yet. Your mama has been saved already. Really? Oh, so that's it. Uncle used the moment that the server was in maintenance to sneak up to the World Tree. But he couldn't logged out with Mama and was trapped there. So now you and Leafa-san are gonna save him, right? Deduced Yui. You said that Naruto's signal came from the top of that tree. Did it was the same location as Asuna? Asked Kirito. No, Papa. Uncle is somewhere deeper. I don't know exactly where though, answered Yui, puffed her cheeks in irritation. I will try to fly up there now. Wait a minute, Oni-chan. Shouted Leafa but was too late. With that said, Kirito activated his wings and flew forward with great speed. Suddenly, as he was about flew up more, the invisible barrier had stopped him from moving up. What the? Why the heck is a barrier here? Asked Kirito irritated. Then he took out his huge sword from behind and tried to break the barrier with brute force. But it was useless, the barrier was still there. And his attack was reflect back to him. You can't break the barrier no matter what, Oni-chan. The only way to the World Tree was through the dome by clearing the Grand Mission, said Leafa as she caught Kirito before he fell down. Then let's go there. I promised Asuna and Rika that I will save Naruto no matter the cost. We have very little time. As the time is passing by, Naruto was torrid every minute. Even such a person as Naruto won't be able to take so much brain damage, said Kirito and grit his teeth in frustration. I know that Naruto-kun is a very precious friend to you, Oni-chan. To me, he is important as well. But no one ever has cleared that quest. Even with the army it's still impossible to even get close to the gate, said Leafa looking at Kirito. Even so I will go. I must save Naruto. He saved my life. Now it's my time to repay the debt, said Kirito and flew down like a rocket. Leafa sighed and followed him but slower. Asuna's room. Asuna was still unable to stand up and could only lying at the bed. Suddenly, she heard a knock on the door. She said, come in, and the person came in. But when that person has entered her room, her eyes narrow in anger. Why do you glare at me like that, my fiancé? Asked Shugu with fake hurting expression. I am not your fiancé. Release Naruto from Alo right now. When I can move I will go straight to my father and tell him the truth, said Asuna glaring at Shugu. Kikuku, I won't do that if I were you. After all, the life of your precious friend is in my hand right now, said Shugoi chuckling like a snake and smirked confidently. Asuna's eyes widen in horror and she covered her mouth. Why you wouldn't? Oh, I would. That brat has just need to ruin all my plans like that. He will experience the hell in game. He may be alive, but the time he wasn't. He may feels freedom, but at the same time not, said Shugu and smirking evilly. Why you are a monster. Don't you have any humanity in you anymore, shouted Asuna crying. I wouldn't do something like this. If only you will remain there as it's supposed to be. So in some means, you were the one that doomed him, Asuna-chan, said Shugu and then turned to leave. But before he left, he turned his head looking from the shoulder to warn her. Remember, if you told something to your father then your friend's life is forfeit. With that said he turned to leave while laughing in satisfaction as he leaving. Asuna began to sob and covered her mouth. She hiccuped and stuttered. It's my fault. I am sorry Naruto. Please forgive me. Then she heard a knock again and turned her head to see Rika was there. Rika seeing Asuna was sobbing decided to check her out. What's wrong Asuna? It's the first time we see each other IRL and you are crying. Asuna hiccuped and hugged Rika tightly. Rika didn't understand why Age suddenly hugged her like that. I am sorry Rika. Because of me that Naruto's life is in danger now. I understand if you are angry with me, said Asuna, as she backed away to look at Rika. No, silly, it's not your fault. Naruto-kun would never want you to blame yourself because of him. You should know him by now. He will do anything to protect or rescue his friends. Also I have trust in Kazuto and Shuguha. They will succeed. Just believe in them, said Rika bonk on Asuna's head softly and smiled warmly at her. Asuna hiccuped one last time and shook her head to clear it. You are right. I will believe in Kirito-kun and Shuguha-chan, said Asuna and smiled a little. Alfheim. Aaron. The gate of the Grand Quest to Word Tree. Kirito is standing at the huge stone gate with two huge stone knights standing on both sides. When he decided to come closer, the stone's knights raised the swords to prevent Kirito from moving forward. You who know not the heights of heaven. Do you desire the passable to the castle of the king? Then a menu for the quest appeared in front of Kirito. Kirito looked at the quest and read. Will you attempt the grand quest, Guardians of World Tree? Yes. No. He pressed yes and the gate began to open slowly. Just you wait, Naruto. I will get you out of there real soon, said Kirito and walked in the gate. Inside the dome, Kirito walked in and only saw that everything was dark. Suddenly, the room lit up and he saw thousands of glowing crystals surround him. Then he looked up at the top, there was an entrance there. Kirito unsheathed his sword and activates his wings to propel up at great speed. Here we go. Suddenly, from one of the crystal, the guardian appeared and began to intercept Kirito. Kirito looked at it in anger and charges forward, clashed blades with it, then stabbed it on the head, destroyed it. Just as he decided to fly up more, the other crystals began to glow and out of them the guardians appeared. The numbers shocked Kirito greatly. But he gritted his teeth in anger and roared, then charges forward at the guardians. He slashed one, then another. Even though he managed to destroy about 30 of them, his HP is at limits already. Suddenly, a huge panel appeared. Oya, I thought you should be with Asuna now, Kirito-kun. Why you decide to come here? Asked Shugu in appearance of Oberon mockingly. Kirito's eyes opened wide and he shouted in rage. Shugu, release Naruto right now. Oh my, you are such a greedy person. Asuna was already released, but that still didn't satisfy you. Such a greedy person you are, Kirito-kun, mocked Shugu, which caused Kirito's to become mad. Where is Naruto? Stop this madness right now, shouted Kirito in rage. Oh, you want to see Naruto-kun? As you wish, said Shugu. Then the panel split in half and the shackled figure of Naruto appeared. Naruto, shouted Kirito with wide eyes. Do you want to hear him scream ha? Ha, asked Shugu mockingly and brought his hand to his ear, then laughed cruelly. Then he pressed the button on the controller and the shock collar on Naruto began to electrocute him. Ah, shouted Naruto with so much agony that causes Kirito to cringe while Shugu smirked in satisfaction. Naruto, Shugu, bastard, I swear I will annihilate you. Shouted Kirito, glared at Shugu so much that if it was possible the hole will appear in Shugu's head. You are welcome to try. But this quest one intentionally made it impossible to pass because it was to trap Asuna here. Naruto managed to pass through because he managed to obtain Forbidden Summon. You though didn't have something like that. Therefore that's impossible for you to pass this quest, said Shugu confidently and turned off the panel. Kirito felt even more rage and charges forward to slash rapidly at the guardians. He destroyed about 30 enemies. But the quality of guardians was still so much. He smirked madly and rushed in to destroy the enemies. Deciding not wasting more time, Kirito decided to propel straight to the entrance. His speed was very impressive, but still the guardians all threw their swords at him at the back, couldn't manage to dodge so many attacks at once and was stabbed by many swords in his back, legs and hands. I was so close, mumbled Kirito. Then he looked at his HP and it has reached 0. Then his body disappeared and he became a purple torch. Is this the limit of my strength? Is my strength limit only in skills and status effects? I am limit to the rules and limits of the game, thought Kirito. Then he remembered something Naruto said to him in Sao. Flashback. Kirito and Naruto was fishing at the lake. Suddenly, Kirito decided to ask Naruto. Naruto, do you believe that we could only be limit by the game and couldn't break that limit? I believed that no matter if this is a game you could break the limit if your feelings is strong enough. Even if you are in virtual world, if you desire it with all your heart, you could break any limits to reach your goal. That was I believed in, said Naruto and looked down to the lake. Kirito just looked at Naruto silently. End flashback. My feelings to Naruto is not this significant. He is my best friend, my savior. Not only that, but all the people outside are waiting for him. I will break through, thought Kirito determined. Suddenly, he looked at the guardian before him and saw that it turned its attention to someone below. He turned back and saw Leafa flew up to him. No, stay back, Shugu. Leafa continued to fly up to Kirito's torch. The Guardians are pursuing Leafa at great speed. Finally, she managed to reach his location and quickly embraced the torch and flew down. The Guardians saw that and slashed down, forcing her to flew down even more. But that was Leafa's aim. The Guardians, seeing Leafa lied on the ground, began to shoot arrows and threw swords at her. Some managed to hit her, but Leafa endured it and managed to flew out of the gate. Outside, Leafa was on her nest and panned loudly. "Oh, Oni-chan," said Leafa, and opened her inventory to take the revival item and revive Kirito. Kirito was revived and opened his eyes slowly. "Thank you, Shugu. But you shouldn't do something like that next time. Now I must return there," said Kirito, rubbing Leafa's head, and stood up to move to the gate again. "Why you shouldn't go there alone, Oni-chan? You couldn't pass there alone," shouted Leafa. But I must go. I saw with my own eyes how Naruto was suffering. We don't have much time. That bastard may even kill him when he want. I promised Asuna and Rika that I will return him safely. Naruto's life is dropping with each minute we ain't talking," said Kirito, grip his knuckles in anger. Leafa, hearing that, covered her mouth in horror. She looked back to Kirito's back and began to talk. "You know, I used to love you, Oni-chan. I knew that we were cousins for a while now. When you were trapped in Sao, I cried every day and hoped that you will one day wake up. Then you woke up, but you always avoid me and go to the hospital to visit Asuna-san. I realized that you have feelings for Asuna-san and felt my first heartbreak. But then I met Menma-kun. He always compliment me and joke around silly. Then I realized that I am in love with him. I am glad for that, as my love for him has healed my heartbreak. To me, Naruto-kun is very important as well, Oni-chan. But you couldn't accomplish anything alone. Naruto-kun is a strong person, he won't die easily like that. You do know that Rika is in love with Naruto as well, right, Shugu?" asked Kirito. I know that. But I won't give up. Not again. I will share him with her that is need. I don't want to feel heartbreak again," shouted Shugu. "Let's logged out to check on Naruto, okay?" asked Kirito. Shuguha nodded her head and smiled. Naruto's room. The doctor was checking on Naruto's health. Suddenly, he noticed that Naruto's heart rate began to drop. "Quickly, call the head doctor here," shouted the doctor to the nurse. The nurse, startled and nodded her head, then ran to find the head doctor. After a while, the head doctor came in to check on Naruto's condition. Kirito and Shuguha walked in that moment. Then what they've heard scared them so much as they began to tremble. "It's bad. At this rate he will only have 3 days at max. More than that he couldn't take it." Then they turned behind at the sound of something dropping to the floor. That was Rika. She just dropped the flower that she bought for Naruto. Her eyes were wide and teary. Naruto's room. All the people in the room stood silently, as they heard what the head doctor just said. Rika was the one that broke the silence and rushed to the doctor and grabbed his shoulders, then shook him. What do you mean? He has only 3 days at max. Don't joke cruelly like that, doctor," asked Rika, smiling at him, and hoped that what he just said was a joke. "I am very sorry, but that was no joke. His brain has been damaged pretty bad that his heart couldn't take any more. If in 3 days Naruto-san not wake up, I am afraid he will leave this living world," said the head doctor, solemnly looking down. "Can't you do something to help, doctor? I beg you. I don't want to lose him. Please, do something to help him," cried Rika and sobbed heavily. "I can only stabilize his condition for a while. But if in 3 days he won't wake up," said the head doctor, not finishing his sentence on purpose. Kirito, hearing what the head doctor has said, and his eyes widen in horror, then he looked down on the ground helplessly. Suddenly, he heard a sob behind him. He turned back and saw Shuguha ran away. Not wanting to leave her alone, he decided to follow her. Outside, Kirito has managed to keep up with Shuguha and saw her sobbing heavily standing near the window. He decided to comfort her and hugged her to the waist. "Oh, Oni-chan, that is unacceptable. And Naruto shouldn't be in a situation like this. He has sacrificed himself to save all players in Sao. Why the fate is so cruel to him." Kirito just looked down at Shuguha sadly. Yes, fate indeed was cruel to Naruto. But he won't give up till the end. So will we. We have 3 days left to save him. I won't give up no matter what. Shuguha used her hands to dry away her tears and nod. Yes, I won't give up also. As long as there is hope, I won't give up. 3 days is enough to save Naruto-kun. Kirito backed away from Shuguha and said with determination. Then let's return and save him. We don't have so much time anymore. Shuguha nodded her head and they both rushed out. Asuna's room. Yuki Shuzu has heard that his daughter has awakened and he is rushing to her room. When he arrived, he opened the door to her room, looked inside and indeed Asuna was awake and looked at the window solemnly. Asuna, my daughter, you are finally awake, shouted Shuzu in happiness and hugged his daughter tightly. Asuna felt his hug widen her eyes a little then close her eyes and said, yeah, I am back Otu-san. Shuzu back away from his daughter and decide to ask her. How did you manage to wake up? Also where has you been? Asuna was about to say something then she remembered Shugu's warning and shook her head. I am sorry Otu-san. But I can't tell you anything. Naruto's life will be in danger if I was about to say anything that happened with me, said Asuna and looked down solemnly. Shuzu looked at his daughter for a while and said. So Shugu was involved in all this huh? I am grateful for Naruto-san once more for saving you. Asuna looked wide-eyed at that and stuttered. How? When? I had my suspicions in Shugu during that time that he has proposed to you when Kazuto-kun was here. I have researched the data about Kayaba Akihiko. And found out that even though he was the one that trapped every players that play Sao, he was never the person to prevent players from progressing. Which means when Naruto-san has defeated him, he did as he promised and released all the remain players. And not long after that Shugu has become the chief in full dive technology. During that time, you and Naruto-san along with 300 players from Sao never awake. Now your words has indeed confirmed my suspicion, said Shuzu. Then Otu-san, we need to get Naruto from Shugu's clutch. For the punishment that he released me, Shugu is torturing him. We need to hurry Otu-san, shouted Asuna with wide eyes and plead her father. About that, the head doctor has said that Naruto-san has taken so much damage that his heart couldn't take any longer. In 3 days, if he is not awake, said Shuzu looking at his daughter solemnly. Asuna widened her eyes and covered her mouth to hide the sob. And no. That can't be. Naruto is always strong, nothing has ever scared him. I refuse to believe that he will die. Kirito-kun and Shuguha-chan have promised me I believe in them. They will save Naruto. Shuzu just embraced his daughter to comfort her as she is crying. Alfheim. Gate to the Grand Quest. Leafa and Kirito opened their eyes then looked at each other and nodded. They were about to proceed to the gate, but a voice behind has stopped them. Leafa-chan. I've been looking for you everywhere, said Recon waving at her. Recon. What are you doing here? Asked Leafa surprised. I've followed you for a while now. Hey, where is that imp in the mask? Said Recon then asked. Leafa looked down sadly and answered. We are about to save him right now. Recon looking at the sad face of Leafa and decided to ask her. Is he important to you? That imp. Do you like him? Recon asked and looked down his hair shadowed his eyes. Leafa thought for a while and answered silently. Yeah, I guess so. Recon heard that and his eyes began to sadden then he shook his head and said. Let me help you guys also. If Leafa-chan will be happy with him, I will be happy as well. Even if I am not the one that will bring that happiness to her. Leafa looked at Recon and muttered. Recon, you. But, if he makes Leafa-chan cry. Then I will kicked his ass and took her away, said Recon clutching his knuckle. Leafa looked at him then sighed and smiled. What are you talking about, Barker? With that said she bonked on his head. Recon rubbed his head and muttered. That was mean, Leafa-chan. Kirito laughed at the scene then said. Well let's go then. With that said they entered the gate. Inside the gate. Dome of Guardians. Kirito flew up and looked at the entrance above him. Then he turned to the two below. You two focusing on healing me. I will take care of the Guardians. Leafa and Recon nodded their head and began to chant incantation. Kirito looked at the Guardians that has appeared, narrowed his eyes and charged forward with great speed and cut down the Guardians one after another. The Guardians continued to charge at him. Kirito swung his sword horizontally and slashed down all units in the front. Recon and Leafa just looked at the scene in awe. Wow. But that won't be enough. The enemies are still too many, said Leafa. Then out from the crystal even more units began to appear. Kirito looked at the units that has appeared and grouted his teeth. There were so many of them have appeared that the entrance couldn't be seen because of their numbers. They began to rush at Kirito one after another, forcing Kirito to fall back at a certain distance behind. Rikon and Leafa, seeing that, looked at each other, nodded their head and began to heal Kirito. The Guardians turned their attention at the two of them as they healed Kirito. We didn't attack them. Why are they targeting us? Asked Rikon, looking at the Guardians. Probably the algorithm of this Guardians are different from the monsters that we have faced. And Naruto-kun managed to pass this dome alone. How could he even achieve that? It's impossible, said Leafa, narrowing her eyes at the Guardians. Just as she was about to charge in to help Kirito, Rikon has grabbed her hand, stopping her. Leafa-chan, that imp is very important to you, right? I just want to make you happy. So I will do what it takes to make you happy, said Rikon, looking at Leafa softly. Rikon, muttered Leafa, looking at Rikon. Rikon then turned his head to the Guardians and charges forward to slash at the Guardian with his dagger. Wait, Rikon, shouted Leafa and followed him, but the other Guardian has intercepted her. Rikon chanted the incantation to create a wind blade and cut the Guardian before him diagonally. Leafa looked at Rikon and shouted. Enough, Rikon. Return here. Then she turned to Kirito to heal him as his HP had dropped in half. Rikon looked back at Leafa and smiled, then he began to chant a very long incantation. After that he self-destruct and create a huge explosion that take a certain amount of Guardians and create a hole that you could see the entrance. Leafa, seeing that he used the self-destruct magic, and shouted. Idiot. Why did you do something like that? Kirito used this chance to fly up with blurred speed, in hope to reach the entrance. He was halfway, but the Guardians regrouped and assaulted him simultaneously. Kirito was stabbed to the chest and stomach, grimacing in pain. Then the Guardians began to fire their arrows, forced Kirito to retreat to the ground. Leafa looked at Kirito and mumbled. This is impossible. We can't do this. Kirito on the ground, panting on his hands and knees. He looked at the ground and punched in frustration. Is this my limit? I am so pathetic. Why can't I be stronger? Naruto has only 3 days left. I won't let him die like that, said Kirito in rage, then shout out at the end. Suddenly, he received a message. He opened the menu. You have been deemed worthy to wield the holy eyes. Then he looked in his skill line and saw one more had appeared. Alpha Stigma. The holy eyes that allow the user to use any spells during the interval of 5 minutes, without losing mana. His widen at that, then he calced Yui out. Yui, give me the most powerful spells. Quick. Hi, Papa, said Yui, and transferred the spell that summoned the 4 sacred beasts. He activate Alpha Stigma and his eyes begin to glow red with the star in the eyes. The immortal vermilion bird that guard the south. Come for me and annihilate all my enemies. Invoke Suzaku. After that the portal appeared above Kirito and a huge crimson phoenix has appeared and screech. The white beast that protect the west. Appear before me and rip my enemies with your fury claws. Invoke Byako. Then a portal appeared and a huge white tiger appeared. It roared loudly, shaking the dome. Leafa looking at shock and wide eyes all the time at her cousin's new power. The azure dragon that sleep in the East Ocean. Float up from the endless ocean and drown all my enemies. Invoke Seiryu. Then he flew up a little as a portal bellow appeared, then a huge amount of water came from it and a huge azure dragon appeared. It roared loudly when the portal below him has closed. The black tortoise of the north. Become my impenetrable shield and deflect all the enemies. Invoke Genbu. The portal below him has appeared and a black sacred beast, half turtle half dragon, has appeared and roared loudly. 4 sacred beasts has been summoned, shouted Kirito in glee, his eyes still glowing red. Leafa looked at all the sacred beast and never felt at such shock. The sight before her magnificent and incredible at the same time. Oh Oni-chan. How do you manage to summon 4 sacred beast? To summon one is already need an incredible amount of mana, yet you have summoned 4 of them. That's unbelievable, asked Shuguha, still at shock. I don't know how and why. But this eyes is the key. It allowed me to use any spell in the interval of 5 minutes without losing any mana, said Kirito. Then he flew up to Leafa. Now we will break through. 4 sacred beasts destroy those annoying guardians, command Kirito, and the 4 sacred beast charges at the guardians. The strength of 4 sacred beast proved too much for the guardians as they were all annihilate very quick. Suzaku breath out the flame stream, destroying the guardians easily. Byako slashed at the guardians at blurred speed, turning them to shreds. Seiryu caused a tornado, using the water from the ground to wipe away all the guardians. Genbu was protecting Kirito as it stood before Kirito and create energy shield to protect it from light arrows. Lifa looked at the battle with her mouth wide and open. She was so speechless that it was comical. The enemies has become less and less. Kirito looked up and saw the entrance above him. He commanded for Suzaku to annihilate the gate that was closed. Then he jumped into it and was teleported away. The 4 sacred beasts have returned to their place, as the job was done. Lifa looked up from below and said, "Please, save Naruto-kun Oni-chan." Unknown place. The shadow was watching, as Kirito teleported away through the entrance. His face was shadowed, only showed his mouth. "It's the first and last time that I am helping you. Kirito-kun." Alfheim. Control room. Kirito was teleported through the gate to the long tunnel of a control room. He looked around and wondered where he is now. "Yui, can you find Naruto's location?" asked Kirito as he looked at Yui. Yui was not in her pixie form, so she returned to normal body now. "Wait a minute, Papa." She closed her eyes and began to search for Naruto's ID. After some time, she snapped open her eyes and ran to a wall and hacking through destroy it. Kirito also followed her hurriedly. They ran outside and saw a long road that led to a birdcage, then high above the birdcage is a floating castle. Kirito looked at the birdcage and deduced. That birdcage seems to be the place where Asuna was trapped in. But I need to find Naruto's location now. "Yui, where is the location?" Yui looked at the castle for a while and pointed at it. "There it is. The signal is coming from the lowest part of the castle," said Yui. With that said, Kirito activated his wings and flew up to the direction of the castle. "Just wait a little bit, Naruto. I am going there now." Real world. Naruto's room. Asuna can walk on her own now, slowly, but she still can. After she heard from her father that Naruto has only more than 2 days left now, she decided to see him. Asuna walks slowly to Naruto's room, knocking, asking permission. After receiving the answer, she walked in. She looked in and saw Rika was there holding Naruto's hand tightly. She approached slowly and said, "I am sure everything will be all right. Kirito-kun won't let the worst happen." Rika turned to Asuna, smiled a little but still worried. "I know. But still I am very worried. I never expect myself to love someone this much. It's like feeling your flesh is tearing apart, looking at him like this," said Rika, clutching her heart. Asuna went to Naruto's bed and looked at his unconscious face. He looks so peaceful like this. But this is still not right. He shouldn't be in a state like this. Asuna went to the window and looked out of it. "Please, hurry up, Kirito-kun." Alfheim. Oberon's castle. Kirito finally arrived at the castle and looked around it. Suddenly, the hall where he stood became dark and the gravity increased. It's increased so much that it forced him to lie on his stomach to the ground. What the heck is happening now? Kirito asked himself, surprised. "Oh, isn't this Kirito-kun himself has come to visit me?" Mocked Shugu stepped down from his throne. Kirito looked up with difficulty at the voice. That voice. "Shugu, where is Naruto? Answer me." Shugu looked down at Kirito and said, bored. "Oh, him. Maybe he is already died or not. I don't care. He ruined all my plans after all." "Shugu, you bastard," shouted Shugu in rage. "It was a joke. Geez, can't even take a joke properly. He is still in the prison, strapped to the shackles. Oh, the scream that he made each time I electrocute him is so sweet," said Shugu, waving his hand, then his eyes became devious. "Shugu, when I can stand up, I will annihilate you," shouted Kirito, glaring murderously at Shugu. "Oh, really? What can you do? I am the god in this world. I can even control human soul now, thanks to 300 and your friend being my lab rats. Ha ha ha, yes, I am a god, I control everything here," asked Shugu and shouted in glee. Then he thought for a minute and the idea came to him. "You want to see your friend that much? Okay, I will release him," said Shugu evilly. "What the heck are you planning?" asked Kirito suspiciously. "Just wait and see. System command, release and transfers the prisoner here," said Shugu. And out from now where the figure was teleport to the place. Kirito looked at the figure with wide eyes. The figure was Naruto, though his hair shadowed his eyes and he didn't move, just standing there. "Naruto, are you alright?" asked Kirito. "System commander, brain control," said Shugu with glee and licked his lips. Suddenly, Naruto began to move and flew next to Shugu and kneeling beside him. "What is your order, your majesty?" asked Naruto with empty voice. Kirito heard that and felt in such shock. Then he turned to Shugu, who was laughing like a maniac, and shouted furiously. What have you done to him? Isn't it obvious? He is my little dog now. With him at my control, I will be able to take everything back. Asuna, RCT Progress, VR MMO World. I will rule everything. While this dog will do all dirty job, said Shugu with satisfaction. Then he turned to Naruto and ordered. Finish this guy right in front my eyes. System command, pain absorber from level 10 down to LV8. Yes, Your Majesty, said Naruto with empty voice and picked up Kirito's huge and stabbed him in the back. Because of pain absorber down to LV8, Kirito felt an immense pain and screamed out in pain. Good. Very good. Stabbed him some more, said Shugu with bloodthirsty eyes. Naruto did as he was told, like he is some kind of emotionless machine. He stabbed Kirito 3 more times. Kirito shouted out in pain again. Blank space. Why is Naruto being controlled like this? What can I do to save him? I want to save him, but what can I do? Thought Kirito as his consciousness transferred to some blank place. Are you giving up? Naruto-kun fought against me even knowing that he won't stood a chance. What about you, Kirito-kun? Are you giving up? Asked Kayaba Akihiko, suddenly appeared in front of Kirito. Kayaba Akihiko. I thought you died already. Asked Kirito, surprised. I am alive or not? Though it doesn't matter now. Are you giving up? Asked Kayaba again. But what can I do against him? He is a GM and I am a player. I can't do anything against him. Said Kirito, looked down helplessly. Do you think that thought stopped Naruto-kun? He transcends beyond the virtual world and managed to defeat me. You have the same potential as him. The fight with Naruto-kun has showed me that humans will is strong enough to break any laws of the virtual world. Stand up, Kirito-kun. Show me your will to protect the precious ones to you. Said Kayaba. Then before he disappeared he said. Oh. I've sealed the memory of Naruto-kun to that seed. If you activate it, all of his memory will be back. With that said, Kayaba Akihiko disappeared before Kirito. Back to the dark place. Shugu looked how Kirito suffered with a sick satisfaction in his eyes. Then he noticed Kirito began to slowly stood up. The strike this Naruto hit me didn't hurt at all. There was no soul in that attack. He is just a puppet to you now. He won't be an unworthy opponent to me. Said Kirito and looked up in determination. Shugu looked at him fearfully, then turned to Naruto and ordered. Naruto. Destroyed him now. Show him no mercy. Yes, Your Majesty. Said Naruto with a blank look. Then he charges at Kirito with his Kusanagi. Kirito raised his sword and blocked the strike with ease. System login. ID. Heathcliff. System command. Enable administrator privileges. Set ID Oberon to LV1. Also turned off the brain control to ID Menma. With that, Naruto began to fall to the ground unconscious. Shugu looked at that in disbelief. What have you done? How can your ID outranks mine? I am the ruler, the god of this world. Shouted Shugu, frustrated, stamping his feet to the ground in frustration. Kirito approached Naruto and said. No, that's not true. You are a thief. You steal this world and all its people for your selfish ambition. How dare you? Your piece of trash dare to talk to me like that. Generate the object ID Excalibur, shouted Shugu with and raised his open palm. But nothing happened, so he tried again and again. Kirito looked at him for a while, then turned to Naruto. He opened his inventory to take out the seed. The SEED, memory seal released. With that, the seed began to glow and all of Naruto's memories has returned to him. He slowly opened his eyes and turned to Kirito. Kirito. It's really you. What am I don't hear? I don't remember anything at all, said Naruto, rubbing his temple. Thanks God, the memories have returned to you, said Kirito and sigh in relief. Naruto turned his eyes to Shugu, who is shouting at the space like he was out of his mind. He narrowed his eyes and turned to Kirito and asked. You don't mind if I teach this trash some lessons, do you? Be a guest, said Kirito. Oi, fake king, do you really think that you could use me like that without paying the consequence? Asked Naruto as he slowly approached Shugoi like a predator. Generate. Excalibur. Why the heck don't you follow my command, piece of crap? Shouted Shugu madly. If you want that sword so much, I will give it to you. Generate object ID Excalibur. Said Naruto, and the golden sword appeared out of nowhere, then fall to his hand. Then he tosses the Excalibur to Shugu. Let's go, Fate King. I will show the true terror of Hitokiri Batasai. Pain Absorber from LV8 down to LV 0 inches, said Naruto darkly, and activated Pain Absorber. Shugu just trembling holding the Excalibur. Naruto Maker, come on, motion for him to strike, which caused him to wide his eyes in rage and charges forward. Naruto just standing there not moving an inch with hair shadowed his eyes with a scary smirk. When the strike was about to hit him, he just raised the Kusanagi to deflect the strike. Is that all you can do, your majesty? If this is all you can do, then now I will show you the hell on earth, said Naruto darkly, and slashed away Shugu's right arm. Losing an arm caused Shugu to roar loudly in pain with tears run down his face. That strike was for trapping Asuna and 300 players. Then he slashed away Shugu's left arm. This is for using her in your dirty ambitions. Shugu roar again with such agony that even Kirito was scared of Naruto now. The third strike slashed away his right leg. This is for causing me to stab Kirito. Shugu eyes widen with so much tears running down. Kirito couldn't look at school brutality and turned his face away. And this is for using me like a puppet. With that said, Naruto bisecting Shugu's left leg. Shugu roar again in pain. Mercy, mercy, mercy. That's all Shugu can muttered with tears running down his cheeks. Mercy. You deserve no mercy. I could even spare the boss in Sao. But you don't deserve mercy at all, shouted Naruto with eyes widen in rage. He stood in Batojutsu stance and slashed the body of Shugu in half. Shugu roared loudly one lady time before his avatar disappeared completely. It's over now, Kirito. I thank you for saving me, said Naruto and turned to Kirito to smile at him. It's nothing. I still repay enough though. You saved me twice, then saved Asuna from the clutch of that bastard. Whether you deny it or not, you are a true hero, Naruto, said Kirito and shook his head. How is Rika-chan? I never even met her IRL once, asked Naruto and looked down to the ground sadly. She is very worried about you. Like everybody else. Now you need to hurry up. You only have 2 days left before you died for real, said Kirito, then turned serious. Really? Well, I better return before the situation become worse. With Naruto used admin privileges to logged out. It's finally over. You are still there, right, Heathcliff? Kirito asked. Then from the thin air Kayaba materialized. It's been a while, Kirito-kun, said Kayaba. So you still alive after all, said Kirito. Not really, I am just part of conciseness left by Kayaba, with intention to help Naruto-kun, said Kayaba. You seem so fixate on Naruto. Can I ask why? Asked Kirito curiously. No one know this, but the first person that invented the full dive technology was not me but my senpai. His name was Namikaze Minato. I just evolved the system further on and develop it. Even the Sao from the beginning was his idea, said Kayaba. What is Naruto's connection to that person? Asked Kirito. Naruto is the blooded son of Namikaze Minato. Though I think he may know that already or not. Naruto-kun's sharp mind came from him after all, said Kayaba. Kirito hearing that widened his eyes. I want you to use the seed. When it buds you will understand everything. You can delete it or forget it, that's your right. But if you have any feelings left besides hatred, said Kaya. Kirito just looked at the seed closely. Well, this is farewell, Kirito-kun. I hope we will meet again, said Kayaba and disappeared. Then the light come out from nowhere and began to overwhelm the hall. With that, Kirito disappeared in the light. Birdcage. Kirito appeared at the birdcage and began to call out. Yui, are you there? Yui appeared out of nowhere and embraced Kirito. I am so glad that you are okay. How is uncle? He returned to the real world already. Is that so? I am so happy. We can gather together again. Papa, Mama, Uncle, Auntie and Yui, said Yui with tears of happiness in her eyes. Yeah. Now I am going to your uncle and Mama. Take care, Yui, said Kirito rubbing her head. Yui snuggle into the action and nod her head. With that, Kirito logged out. Kazuto's room. Kazuto slowly opened his eyes and saw that Shuguha was already there. I am sorry, Oni-chan, but you were too long out there that I began to worry. So, did you succeed? Asked Shuguha eagerly. Yes, now all is truest over, said Kazuto smiling and take off the Navagir. Then let's go visiting them. Asuna-san and Naruto-kun. Said Shuguha with anticipation. Okay, let's go. Though just remember Naruto didn't know your real name yet, said Kazuto. Yeah, Yeah, let's hurry. With that said, they dressed up, then walked out of the house. Kirito rode a bike and Shuguha sat behind him. I can finally meet you IRL, Asuna, Naruto-kun, thought Kazuto and Shuguha on the way to the hospital. Kirito and Shuguha tried to arrive to the hospital as quick as they can. Suddenly, they felt some kind of uneasy feeling. Shuguha touched her heart and wondered. What is this uneasy feeling I am feeling? Naruto's room. It was very late and no one was presented in the room. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and sat up to remove the Navy gear from his head. He sighed and shook his head. Suddenly, he heard the sound of someone open the door to his room. He narrowed his eyes at that. When the figure showed himself, Naruto began to grit his teeth in frustration. The figure was none other than Nobuyuki Shugu with a military knife in his hand. You are such a cruel person, Naruto-kun, to kill in such a painful way. I can still feel the pain even now, you know. But I will end your life here. With my own hands. You have just woke up, so you can't move properly. This will be the end for you. But I won't kill you just yet. I will cut you to pieces like you did to me, said Shugu. His eyes showed madness. Naruto tried to move his legs but cursed in frustration. It's over now, bastard. Asuna has returned to reality, me too. You have lost, just accept that fact, said Naruto. Over. No. Nothing is over. I will go to America, there will be many companies that need my expertise. I will become the god once again. But first, I will kill you, Naruto-kun. You are such a nuisance that I should have get rid from the very beginning, said Shugu madly and slowly approached Naruto. Naruto accepted the reality with a calm look on his face. So this is the punishment for killing the PK players in Sao. It's truly over now. I can't move from this place. And no one will come this late. Goodbye, Kirito, Asuna, Leafa and Rika-chan. I am sorry, but it seems the fate wants to take away my life no matter what. Shugu approached Naruto's bed and stabbed Naruto to the shoulder. Caused Naruto to scream out in pain. You have a beautiful girlfriend, am I right? What was her name? Oh, Rika-san, right. When I am finished with you, I am gonna have some fun with her. Kakuku, said Shugu with a sick look and licks his lips hungrily. Naruto holding to his wound shoulder, hearing that widened his eyes and shouted in rage. Don't you dare touch her, you sick bastard. What can you do to me? You can't do anything. I will have some fun with her. It's such a shame that you won't see her face when I get senselessly. Ha ha ha, said Shugu with even more insane expression. Shugu, I will fucking kill you. I swear to God I will kill you. Shouted Naruto with such rage his eyes is like that of a hungry predator. Too bad, you can't do anything. I'll kill you here. Goodbye forever, Naruto-kun, said Shugu, then his smirk turned wide. Just as he was about to stab Naruto, Kirito appeared in the room and threw his shoe and disarmed him. Kirito ran into Shugu and punched him in the face. Shugu was sent flying to the ground by the punch. Kirito turned to Naruto and asked, Naruto, are you okay? Yeah, though I need to stop the blood leaking from my shoulder, said Naruto holding on his shoulder. Shugu, quick, bandage Naruto's wound, said Kirito to the door. The door opened and Shuguha quickly ran to Naruto to bandage his wound. Are okay, Naruto-kun? Asked Shuguha worriedly. That voice. Are you Leafa-chan? Asked Naruto, tilting his head and narrowed his eyes. Shuguha smiled happily that he recognized her. Yes, though my real name is Kirigaya Shuguha, said Shuguha. Shugu began to stand up from the ground and shouted madly. Kirito-kun, you are interfering again. I will kill you here as well. With that said, he began to charge at Kirito. Kirito dodged the slash with fright eyes. Naruto narrowed his eyes at that, then he remembered there was a sleeping syringe that he hid from the doctors, just in case he was attacked. Shuguha-chan, please take the syringe below my pillow and injected it with Shugu. Use the distraction that Kirito is providing, said Naruto silently. Shuguha nodded seriously and took the syringe from the pillow, then slowly sneaking behind Shugu. Shugu is like a madman, just swings his knife in every direction. Kirito tried to dodge as much as he can, though he still received some slash. Then Kirito noticed he was cornered and widened his eyes. Ha ha ha. This is the end. Goodbye, Kirito-kun, shouted Shugu with insane look. Kirito closed his eyes waiting for the worst, but nothing happened. He opened his eyes and saw Shuguha injected the sleeping syringe at Shugu's neck from behind. Shugu's widened in surprise, then he went limp on the ground. Shuguha rushed to her cousin and asked, "Are you alright, Oni-chan?" "Yeah. There was some minor wound but it's not serious." "What about Naruto?" asked Kirito slowly stood up. "I am fine. The bandage had stopped the wound from bleeding," answered Naruto and lied down to the bed. Then the door opened and Asuna came in. She looked at Naruto and saw that he was awakened. "You are awake, Naruto. How do you feel?" asked Asuna in happiness. "I am fine. But you better go to Kirito. You guys have waited so long for this moment after all," said Naruto pointing at the standing figure of Kirito. Asuna then turned to Kirito and jumped to his arms, embraced him tightly. "Kirito-kun, I am so happy to see you are all right." "Yeah, me too, Asuna," said Kazuto. Asuna leaned in and began to kiss Kazuto passionately. Kazuto also kissed her back with such passion. Naruto just looked amused at that. Shuguha though looked bright red and turning her favor away in embarrass. Naruto decided to ruin their mound that moment. "Oi, you two better take a room. It's not very pleasant to see you two suck each other's mouth, you know." Asuna and Kirito hearing that stopped the kissing and turned to Naruto with a glare, then both said at the same time, "You just ruined the whole mood, you idiot." Then Asuna proposed to go to her room so that they can speak privately. Kirito agreed and they began to left Naruto's room. Shuguha seeing that only she and Naruto remained in the room and began to fidgeting nervously. Naruto just looked at her for a while and said, "You know I am with Rika-chan now, right? So what have you decided?" I don't want to feel heartbreak anymore. You know, I used to have a crush on Oni-chan. But he only saw her as a sister and that broke my heart. Then when he returned from Sao, I was so happy that he was back. I thought I had a chance with him. But then found out that he was in love with Asuna-san. That really broke my heart. I decided to play a VR MMO in hope to forget that heartbreak. Then I meet you. At first I thought you were some kind of arrogant team, because of your title. But you were nothing as I expected. As the time passed, the more time I spend with you, the more time I realized that I fall for you. That's why I decided that I won't give up my love this time. Even if it means sharing you," said Shuguha with determination. Naruto just looked at her softly. Then he said, "I wouldn't mind to have two hot girlfriend by my side. Just don't think I am some kind of player though." "Oh, all your memory was back, right?" asked Shuguha with mischievous eyes. "Yeah," answered Naruto blinking. "Then you remembered the time you flirted with Sakuya and Alicia, right?" asked Shuguha with a smirk. Naruto began to pale. His mouth opened and closed several times. "What will Rika-san think if she found out, I wonder?" asked Shuguha mysteriously. No, don't tell her. Rika will skin me alive. She is super jealous," said Naruto in panic with a pale face. "Then I want a kiss from you." I promised I won't tell anything to Rika-san," muttered Shuguha with a red face. Naruto just smiled softly and cupped her cheek, then leaned in to kiss her passionately. It was the first kiss for Shuguha and she felt a very strange yet pleasant sensation on her lips. They kissed for a while, then Naruto broke the kiss. He looked at Shuguha's face and smirked. She was in daze. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you, Shugu-chan," said Naruto caressing her cheek. "I am Kirigaya Shuguha. It's a pleasure to meet you, Naruto-kun," said Shuguha smiling with tears of happiness run down her cheeks. Naruto embraced her in his arms and closed his eyes. 2 months later, Naruto and Asuna can finally walk properly and return to their normal routine. So something has happened. Yuki Shuzu, in order to repay Naruto for saving his daughter twice, proposed to adopt Naruto. Naruto hearing that gladly accept. Asuna also very glad that now she has a little brother. Shugu was captured by the police the next morning when he assaulted Naruto. Naruto asked the police interrogated him for the name of the person that has paid Shugu to trap him in Aloe. Shugu answered truthfully that he didn't tell him his name. And said that just called him Prince of Hell. Hearing that name causing Naruto to surprised greatly, as that was the avatar name of the leader of Laughing Coffin. Now in the school that created for Alan the survivors of Sao. Kirito is lying on the table bored. Then he heard a knock on the door and turned his lazy eyes to the direction. The teacher told the person to come in. When that person came in, it caused Kirito to full awake. "Nice to meet you all. My name is Yuki Uzumaki Naruto. I hope we all can become friends," said Naruto smiling briskly. The class was silent for a second, then began shouted randomly. Oh my god. The hero of Sao is in my class. Kya. Naruto-sama is in my class now. The same Naruto-san, that single-handedly killed two boss. I am gonna catch him, then strapped him in my bed and rape him the while day. Naruto, hearing that, began to tremble fearfully. Then the teacher told him to find a place to sit. He sat behind Kirito and the lesson continued. Time skip. After class, Naruto's presence quickly become popular. He was chased down by the newly reinstated fan club hat consisting of the females. From the distance, Kirito has meet up with Asuna. She brought the lunch for Kirito and Naruto. Kirito looked at all the girls that chasing Naruto in amusement and turned to Asuna. Don't you want to help him? He is your brother now after all. No, it's more fun to see him running from fangirls like that. Also, I'd want to see Rika's face when she found out, said Asuna, and giving Kirito his lunch. That's cruel even for you, Asuna. After being to nearly tear apart by the fangirls, Naruto must face Rika's wrath also. I pity him. Amen. I hope your soul will be free, Naruto, said Kirito and bowed his head in pity. Asuna smiling in amusement. Then she looked closely at Kirito and began to lean in. Kirito seeing that also lean in. But the ring sound of Asuna's phone has ruined the mood. Asuna turned murderously to the phone and said in irritation. Who is it? Oni-chan. Left me some lunch, okay? Said Naruto, panting through the phone. Asuna, hearing that, caused a tick mark appeared in her forehead. Then she shout out on anger to the phone. You've completely ruined the mood, Barker. She turned off her phone with a huff. Kirito just laughing nervously at that. With Rika. At first Rika was glad that her boyfriend will be study here. But it quickly turned to irritation. First, she found out that Naruto has flirt and was kissed by some women in Alo by Kazuto. Second, she found out that there is a female fan club of Naruto now. When I get my hand on that pervert, said Rika, glaring ahead with grit teeth. You shouldn't worry. Naruto love you with all his heart after all. Also, those accident happened when his memory were lost after all, said Keiko sitting at the table. I know that, but still it's frustrating. He has two girlfriend now. And that fan club irritate me to no end, said Rika, sigh in frustration. Then the door behind the class opened slowly. Keiko was about to say something, but Naruto make a silent sign to keep her quiet. Naruto slowly sneaks up to Rika and embrace her around her waist. Did you miss me? Asked Naruto, snuggled to her hair. Rika smiles and turns around to look at him. Yeah, though you are a celebrity now, I see. What's with that fan club? Asked Ruka, smiling too sweetly for Naruto taste. It's not my fault I attract other women. Complained Naruto with a pout. Yes, you don't guilty at all. Though remember, me and Suguha-chan are girlfriend now. If you are gonna chest one us, warned Rika with a dangerous gleam in her eyes. Naruto immediately paled and answered. That will never happen. You two are the only ones for me. Good. Now kiss me with as much passion as you can, said Rika seductively and leaned into Naruto's face. Naruto did as she was told and kissed with as much passion as he can. Keiko just looked at the scene and smiled. Time skip. Kirito, Asuna, Naruto, Rika and Suguha were walking to the direction of Agel's cafe. Naruto looked at Asuna and complained. How can you be such cruel, Oni-chan? You left your brother to be chased by the crazy female fan club. Asuna just huff and flick her hair. Why is that it's my fault that you are such a celebrity now? Naruto just sigh heavily while Rika and Suguha latch on his arms and smiling brightly on the way to the cafe. Kirito decided to hold on Asuna's hand. She looked at Kirito and smiled softly. Agel's cafe. They opened the door to the cafe. And saw there were many people already there. It seems we are a little late, said Kirito. Not really, though the main characters always appeared in the last minutes, is that right? Asked Klein. Then Rika dragged Naruto to the stage and began to speak. Alright, you will be standing here, my darling. Now. Then she raised the mic to the crowd and they shouted out. Congratulations on clearing Sao, Naruto. Naruto just feeling embarrassed at the praise and scratching his head nervously. Cheers, shouted Rika and everybody began to cheers loudly. After some minutes, Naruto sat down on the bar and ordered. Master, sake please. Agel just closed his eyes and slid the cup to Naruto. Naruto tasted the drink and said. Hey, this isn't sake. You are still a minor. I can't give you the real thing, said Agel. Give me the real thing then, said Klein, sat down next to Naruto. You will return to work soon, right? Is that okay to drink before the work? Asked Naruto. It's alright. By the way, you are such a lucky bastard. You already have such a hottie as Rika-chan. Now you even have your own female fan club. I am too jealous of you. Said Klein, then cried with fake tears. Lucky. You don't know her just yet. She is a tigress. As for the fan club, I never wanted from the beginning. And I have one more girlfriend, just so you know, said Naruto and sipping his drink. What? Rika-chan isn't enough, now you even take the second. Who is she? Is present here? Asked Klein, shook Naruto rapidly. Naruto was in daze from the shaking. He shook his head to clear his head. Avid answered. Yeah, she is sitting near Rika and talk with Asuna over there. Naruto pointed his finger at the smiling face of Shuguha. What? You are dating Kirito's sister as well? How come Kirito still has not killed you yet? Asked Klein in bewilderment. Naruto just shrugged his head and continued to sip his drink. Kazuto walked to the bar and asked. Saragal, how has the seed been? It's amazing. There are around 50 mirror servers, about hundreds of download sources, and 300 major servers that are actually running it. When Kirito saved Naruto, he used the seed that Kayaba has give him. He brought Taragal and asked him to analyze it. In that seed, there are other program package containing another full dive system MMO by Minato Namikaze. Now anyone that good with internet connection server could download the seed to create his or her own world. Kirito asked Taragal to upload the seed so that everybody can use the seed. With this, the VR MMO that was dying has been restored. The allo data was transferred to different company, that's still running it. But Alfheim was not the only VR MMO that had been developed their own servers. The other VR MMO games also began to run their own game servers. Also you can use the character from one game to convert to another. But that's not all. Naruto decided to revive the Aincrad and brought it to Alfheim. Also he developed a system that can transfer the skill of one game to another. That system has been used by many players and they were grateful for Naruto to develop such system. Which means Kirito's dual wielding and Naruto's Shukuchi can be used in other MMO. Alfheim. Kaith Sith territory. Above the capital city, Freelia. Leafa was flying at the greatest speed. Then she decided to fly up as much as she can, to reach her limits. When she was about to reach the moon, her wings can't take any more and she began to fall. She closed her eyes and began to fall freely. Suddenly, she felt Dine hold her bridal style and opened her eyes to look at the shining blue eyes of Naruto. Though he looked different and in different outfit, Naruto was back in his star deity equipment, though he still has his bat wings behind. So this is how you looks like when you are in Sao, huh? Asked Leafa. Yes, I decided to not use my past avatar from Allo. As it remind me how I lost my memories, how I stabbed Kirito when being controlled by that four-eyed bastard, said Naruto smiling at her. Wait here a minute and we'll see something really amazing, said Naruto mysteriously. What is it? What will be so amazing? Asked Leafa curiously. Just wait a minute. Though looking at you with the moon background make me want to do something, said Naruto softly. What is it? Leafa whispered back. Naruto just closed his eyes smirking, then began to flew up so that they were hovering in the middle of the moon. This, said Naruto and kissed her deeply. Leafa kissed back as well. If you watch from the far you will see the two people kissing each other hovering in the middle of the moon. The sight was just magnificent for anyone to see. Naruto broke the kiss, the caressing her cheek tenderly. Leafa just leaned to his touch. Then the sound of the bell ringing was heard. Naruto turned to look at the moon and smirked. Here it come. What is it? Will something appear on the moon? Asked Leafa curiously. Naruto just smirks and look at the moon. Slowly the shadow began to descend from the moon. When it descent to a proper distance you can see the floating castle of Aincrad. How? Why is it here? Asked Leafa at shock. Isn't it obvious? I revived the castle of Aincrad. Last time, I couldn't clear it properly, but this time I will clear it. All the 100 floors. Will you help me, Leafa? Asked Naruto turning to Leafa and smiled. I will go with you anywhere, Naruto-kun, said Leafa smiling softly. So you really have returned the Aincrad. You are really something, Naruto, said Kirito flying to them with Asuna in his side. I wouldn't expect nothing less from the legendary Batasai, said Klein and raised his thumb up. Ara, I didn't know my darling has 2 concubines. But it won't matter, I will take him all to myself, said Sakuya looking at Naruto with lust. Naruto Yuki Uzumaki. You better explain this to me right now, shouted Lisbeth furiously with the eyes of a demon. Let's race. Whoever reach Aincrad first, I will give free cashes, said Naruto fearfully and propelled forward like a rocket. Stop right now, you womanizer. When I catch you, you will be begging your knees for weeks, shouted Lisbeth and followed Naruto. Everybody just looked at the scene in amusement. I didn't know Naruto was this whipped, said Klein. With that they all laughed loudly and flew to Aincrad. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.